Welcome to Camera Speed, your fast track to all things TV and film production. Whether you're behind the camera, in the editing bay, or dreaming of getting your first shot, this podcast is your go-to for production techniques, equipment reviews, the latest industry news, and behind-the-scenes stories straight from the set. Each episode, we'll dive deep into the craft of visual storytelling, from mastering camera movements and sound design to exploring the latest gear shaping our industry. This is the Camera Speed Podcast.
What's good, everybody? Welcome back to episode 2 of Camera Speed, the amazing podcast where my brothers will be discussing everything from cameras to editing, industry news, gear, and everything in between. This week, first things first, we are jumping into industry news around Netflix earnings, Netflix potential, and how we all feel about this. There's an amazing guy named Producer Patrick on Instagram who's been laying out information weekly on industry news, helping camera operators, editors, whoever needs to know what's going on in the game. Check this out and come back on the other side.
So I got good news and bad news. The good news, Netflix is expecting its slate of programming and production to return to normal next year, 2025. Co-CEO Ted Sarandos cited the 2023 strikes for creating a backlog of production that was patchier than normal. He said the first half of the year, our lineup was much lumpier than what we liked, and that was primarily because of the work stoppage. Earlier this week, Netflix also boasted an amazing earnings report showing that the platform has grown by 5 million new subscribers. So what's the bad news? There was no real clear indication on what Netflix's revived production will mean for cities like Los Angeles or New York or Atlanta. Sarandos did admit it did hit the US, Canada, and Australia the hardest, but there were also some effects of that felt in production around the world. But where exactly Netflix's production is going to return still remains a mystery, especially as production jobs continue to be outsourced globally and outside of the United States. Secondly, Netflix also is the only media company that's actually making money out of anybody, most likely because they're also the only company that is not weighed down by any dying cable channels, a major problem that Warner Brothers, Paramount, and Disney are now facing. So while this is good news for Netflix, there's still no indication that the industry as a whole is on the mend. What are your thoughts on Netflix's turnaround and what this means for the entertainment industry?
Bro, we went from Netflix and chill to I don't know what the fuck. It's like, and I think it's interesting because just as content creators, it's such a conflict. Like, if they call any one of us with a check, we gonna go put our shit up on Netflix. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, like there's almost this, what's the word? There's almost like the industry has been cannibalized by its own resources.
Right.
So it's like, what the fuck? What do y'all think?
Like truthfully,
and what's the next step?
For me, so I like to take this, like, one of the big things about being in the industry is definitely like forecasting the industry. I think it's important for everybody who's aspiring to be in the industry in any capacity. You got to forecast because, like you said, the reports are there's 2/3 of the industry that are not working. Mm-hmm. And you got to, I think people don't get a grasp of what not working is because they don't realize the scale of what was working. Mm-hmm. There was so much content from television shows. Television shows used to be 23 episodes, 30 episodes where people are working 6 months at a time. That's livelihood, right? Yeah. But I think everyone gets that one notion of where, okay, this is coming to the theaters, we see this, and then our favorite shows on TVs, we see this. You got all your B movies, you got all your straight to DVDs at that time, those type of movies. So it's a lot of production, which means we may not take stake in it as like a high value movie or show that has a name in it, but it's a job for the next 80 people who are part of that production. So don't take that lightly when they say, hey guys, the industry is slow right now, because it is. That being said, going into something like Netflix, especially on the video, I had a chance when I saw it, listening to him, it's really in this position of where we got to tell and educate everybody because you got to know how you want to maneuver. Like if you're trying to get in the industry, you need to learn what do those steps look like because it's changed. It's completely different than it was 10 to 15 years ago, probably when you had the idea or the notion say, hey, I want to be in the film industry. Absolutely. So now to get long-winded on that, how do you take those next steps, understanding what's at stake. Netflix, like you said, has cannibalized everyone else because everyone else tried to copy Netflix.
Right.
What Netflix came up with was special to Netflix.
Yeah.
And it was special for the technology boom of going into like streaming, being cord cutting, changing of generations, changing of the guard, all of that stuff, man. That was an impact. But what happened was you had traditional TV that's been the same for 100 years, or like 100 years, where this is the formula. Ads you pay for the advertising. That pays for the network. You generate your income. The more ads I can throw at you, the more we get paid, the more episodes that we come. This is the mechanism. So now that Netflix has destroyed, I don't want to say destroyed, but now that Netflix has given this blueprint where everyone who had already had the business model and other business models that funded what they were doing, they dumped all those resources into streaming where your only return is subscription and ads, but you still need people to subscribe.
Right, and if everybody's already subscribed to Netflix, like, why am I gonna subscribe to another thing?
Yeah. What's gonna drive you to what's gonna drive you to that other thing?
And it's gotta be something monumental, which is why they're pouring so much money into these shows. But it's just like, you can pour $100 million into something, and if it's not bringing you 100 million subscribers, or however many that's going to take, $10, 10 million subscribers at $10 a pop, how are you going to make that money back?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then you're trimming the fat, because now you're like in this hustler mind state. You still got to be in a position to sell low and gain high, right? So if we go from great content, think about all the great content that had 30 freaking episodes. Now you cutting them in half to or not even half, you cutting them to 8 episodes. You cut them in thirds to 8 episodes. And then it takes 2 years for the next season. So if that's your driving mechanism, how do you keep up with that? You're just throwing money in the garbage. So then as a filmmaker, how do you see your steps in this landscape? Because it's here. Now, all the other streaming agencies that are like pulling back now, you see Amazon's cutting their production, they're pulling back, and they just recently did a deal with Amazon. Everyone else is scaling back.
Apple
is scaling back, and then you have, nobody knows what Max is doing, HBO and Max and all that. Nobody knows.
They know what they're doing. Really.
It's basically turned into Discovery. So
and that's what it is. It's Discovery Plus. All of those streaming services have merged together with the Warner Brothers Discovery merger and all that. They're just gobbling everybody up. Everybody that Disney doesn't have, they're trying to get everybody else.
Right.
So it's just like, but still, they still don't have, even with like Game of Thrones and the new, what's the new one that you love? House of the Dragon. All of that stuff.
Greatest show on TV.
They're pouring in hundreds of millions of dollars into that.
Yeah.
But they're not getting the subscriber base that's coming over that loved Game of Thrones. They're not coming to say, oh yeah, I'm gonna spend that $14.99 just so I can watch House of the Dragon.
I kind of disagree.
It ain't about disagreeing.
I know the numbers. I feel like the numbers are speaking, but like I recall, because I'm a big Game of Thrones fan, and I recall when House of Dragon was first announced, and how all the Thronies was like, nah, we good. And HBO was like, okay, well, we're just gonna do just a little special season. And it's just gonna, help to sell, at the time it was, HBO Max. And that first episode dropped and people lost their minds. They was like, yo, this, what? And HBO, then they put it on the cable network. And people were still losing their minds, like, yo, this show is great. And I'm seeing a lot of that happen with a lot of these different shows, where it's like for instance, The Bear. It just started out on FX, and then it, once Hulu had picked it up and started streaming, it's got episodes. It's going at, like, I don't see the bear being taken down anytime soon. There's not a
It's
show
not,
out there
but
like
the, But the
that.
bear's not driving profit for FX or Hulu.
I
Correct.
feel like it is though.
It's not. So
not.
here's the facts though. The
Okay.
facts is that the facts are Netflix has popularized the aspect of we have something that you want to watch. And then you can come and watch it. You can come binge it. That was the whole push for Netflix that made them different from everybody else. I don't have to wait a week. I can see the whole thing in one sitting and enjoy and consume it. Cool.
And that still is working very well for them too.
But it's Netflix's model.
Yeah.
So when you go into the other streaming platforms and they're trying to emulate, that's where all the cash dumping came, where you're emulating that organic mechanism that drove Netflix's success. So, yes, popularity, they're IPs. They already have a fan base. So that's why you see strong IPs in streaming platforms. You're not seeing truly a whole bunch of young filmmakers or even established filmmakers, take back established, up and coming filmmakers. You're only seeing people who already have solidified their audience. That's why you're seeing the Martin Scorsese films that are 3 hours because he has his own audience.
Adam Sandler,
all of them have their own audience. It's just eyeballs at this point in time. Anything to get you to come over and watch this. The problem with that mechanism is you're gonna lose money because nobody knows Netflix's insides and their financial stability. We can guess and assume, cool, they have the worldwide market. Cool, prices are coming up. They just added ads. Those are all indications that soon Netflix could be, and this is my projection, it could easily go up to what cable was. Where you getting Comcast, it could easily be $100 in 10 years, in 6 years, or whatever the case may
Bro,
be.
with all the streaming services and everything like that, it's well surpassed everything that we was paying for with cable.
So my question for y'all then is, if I'm a filmmaker coming up, and y'all know the first allure was, I'm gonna get my stuff on Netflix. I'm gonna get my film on Netflix. And until those mechanisms start closing off as far as like, how do you get your films on streaming platforms through distributions or through knowing the programmers and everything at those streaming sites, taking that into account, is Netflix a entertainment industry or is Netflix a tech company at this point that's making them differentiate from all the companies, traditional medium companies that have magazines, television networks, all these things that now they had money coming from other areas where Netflix is saying, hey, we're good at these one or two things in a world-dominated market, and this is how we're getting our money and our finances. Matt.
I think inherently that's just how they move. Like based off the tech, the metrics, based off their shareholders, stock price. Like I think it's tech first, finance second, entertainment third. You know what I'm saying? Like audience fourth.
100% audience
one more year for Stranger Things.
Oh my God.
I'm gonna go crazy.
Or how about the fact that we waited our entire lives for Rebel Moon?
You actually watched Rebel Moon?
I
Bro!
could not watch that.
You watched both of them?
How about the fact that I watched both of them? I was like, you know what? I'm gonna see what the second one was looking like. All right, cool. And
After
then
the
he
first
and
one
then he dropped the
disappointed you so
director's
bad?
cut, and I was just like, okay, well, we're gonna have director's cut because y'all know I'm kind of a Zack Snyder stan, but dear Lord Jesus, I need you to get it together. Get it all
Netflix
together.
or Zack Snyder?
You know what? Honestly, it's a little bit of both, and I'll tell you the reason why. And it's only because I mean this is a safe space, right? All right.
I mean, it's only millions of people watching. But
Yeah, it's only millions of people watching, but
I'm
I will
speaking
say,
that into existence,
I will say that for me, what was the show called? Supercell. I felt like Supercell was a cash grab at the black market, right? For superheroes and everything. I had conflicts. Why is it that every time that they decide to cater to black viewers, we gangsters, we thugs, we thieves?
It felt
Like, don't even get me started on stars, bro. We all know what's on Stars. I'm sorry. There's other stories to tell.
Here's my counter to that. And it's not a counter to being opposed to what you believe, because I believe the same thing.
Yeah.
I definitely want to see black people and all people of color in all shapes of like different storytelling. I do counter you though, because take this into consideration. Is that an identified audience? If we're watching Snowfall, which I like Snowfall.
Love Snowfall.
I really enjoy Snowfall.
Oh wait,
I'm sorry.
I mean, if we're gonna say Snowfall, shout out to Tommy.
Oh yeah.
Got to shout out
Great-
Tommy.
Great DP, Tommy Maddox.
Tommy Maddox is
Great
that man.
DP. But it's still the same. It's still the same philosophy. It's still an audience. Just like we can talk about Tyler Perry and his audience. It's his audience. He knows what they want. It's no different from a business knowing what they want. He has the solution to the problem, and that's his identified audience. Now, we can go in depth to say, hey, how come there's no filmmaking creative opportunities that you could do with this audience since you accumulated this audience? But how's TP different from anybody else of a network, maybe a white executive network, is saying, hey, I know this group of people who happen to be black are going to watch this show of young kids who are drug dealers in the ties with conflicts in heart. But you got Snowfall, you got Power, you got, was it BMF, all these things. You keep showing, giving success. It's just saying there's an audience for it. So I'm on the mode of Supercell. I enjoy Supercell in the sense of, I haven't watched the whole series, but I enjoy it in the sense of it was black superheroes.
Yeah. Oh, don't get it twisted. I enjoy Supercell.
I enjoy that aspect.
It was phenomenal. I plan on watching it, the second season when it comes around. I really loved everything that they did with it, I'm just sort of like, okay, I get, because of who the creator is and where he came from, I get, why he would put in that. And everybody brings up a very valid point. It's like, okay, well, what would you do if you had superpowers? Yeah, I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like it was a smart show and they did well. But there's shows that are happening, and what I guess for me as the TV head, the film guy, and for me it's like as an audience member, I want to see these companies like Netflix, like the Amazons, HBO Maxes and stuff, when they start making content for blacks, it should not be the responsibility of us as independent filmmakers to produce content that elevates us as a people.
I'm gonna be honest, man. I pitch a lot of shows. These networks don't want smart black heady shows, bro. That's just personal opinion. You know what I mean? Based off the stuff that's being pitched and offered, and I'm in a room like, you don't want this show? Like, okay, you know what I mean? So after a while, it's kind of like, it's unfortunate, but it's the game we play. Like, I just watched Fight Night. You know what I mean? Like the Kevin Hart series on Peacock. Yeah, and it's like,
shout out our trees. Right.
And again, like it's based around gangsters and stuff like that. But from a creative standpoint, I mean, I'm looking at the outfits. I'm looking at, I see Don Cheadle in the home. I'm looking at the set design. I'm like, ooh, this is incredible work.
Nice.
Looking at the cast, I'm like, God damn, like.
How about the lighting, bro?
It was a phenomenal series. You know what I mean? But at the same time, it's like, is it about an unfortunate story? Yeah. I'm looking at the EPs. I'm looking at, the credits and who's working behind the scenes and on set design and things like this and hair and makeup. Like, it's a full black cast, a full black crew. It's definitely a longer conversation, but man, it's unfortunate. Like, I don't think if this was the case, it'd still be the underground. If this was the case, we still have.
Don't you say it. Don't you say it.
Mike hates it, but
don't you say it.
Lovecraft Country.
Lovecraft Country.
Oh my gosh, like
loved it.
One of the greatest shows ever.
Watchmen,
I mean, yo,
the new version of Watchmen.
But even rap shit.
No, now watch your mouth.
Which
what
one?
you talking about? What am I
Oh,
watching?
the new version. Oh, the new
The
version.
new version of Watchmen.
Bro, I thought you had called.
Watchmen.
I thought you had called that show the new version of Watchmen. I was
I'm
about to
saying that
lose my
They
mind.
only had one season of the new
Yes.
version, and there should have been
Right.
more.
There should have been 8.
Yeah.
Whose grandmother you just interpreted?
Bro, I had to clutch my pearls for a second. Did you just call Love the what?
No, but I think that all of that goes back into the idea of the model and what Netflix has done.
Yeah.
Even when it came to Watchmen only getting one season, Lovecraft
Yeah.
Country only getting one season, it's like you had it came out, and then it's done. And then you like, wait a minute, this wasn't a limited series, was it?
Bro.
Like, wait, what happened to I get to watch a show every week for 5 months, and then you get 5-6 months off, and then you come back and you start watching the next season. Now it's like, yeah, we're gonna give you 8 episodes right now,
Right.
and you're not gonna see the next one for 2 years, 3 years, if we want to.
Bruh.
Or yeah, you know what? Yeah, we're just not gonna bring it back. We know a lot of you people liked it, but it cost too much money. We didn't get the subscriber base that we thought we were gonna get from them, so that thing is gone now. And it's just like, when you don't have the TV model that used to be there, now you're not getting the ads, you're not getting all of the residual income that you would have gotten. And this goes on a much bigger part of the industry when it comes to everybody who worked on the show as well. So now we have to worry about, as consumers, not only do I not get to see that thing that I really loved, but as people that work in the industry, now I don't have another season to come back to.
Right.
You figure you worked on Seinfeld. Seinfeld was on what, 10 years, 10, 12 years, something like that? Or maybe shorter than that, but still, it was on for an extended period of time. And so all the people that worked on Seinfeld knew, hey, I'm gonna work on Seinfeld, and then I'm gonna probably work on Frasier. And then I'm good for the year. Those are gonna air, and then while those are airing, we're gonna come back, and I'm gonna work on Seinfeld, and I'm gonna work on Frasier.
Or how about like one of my favorite shows of all time, my favorite show of all time, Star Trek.
Right.
Star Trek did
a million episodes.
Star Trek did, imagine this much money. Star Trek did an hour episode for 22 episodes a season. Do you know how much that in itself? And then when it was hot back in the 90s, bro, and you got guys that are going from Star Trek Deep Space Nine to just they're immediately going over to work on Voyager. I mean, that was a long period of time.
Absolutely.
And I mean, like you said, that change in industry of the shorter seasons is definitely affecting the industry. Like, it makes you wonder, like, why we're not getting, the quality storytelling that we should be getting, and why they're like, okay, well, we don't know what's happening with the industry right now. What's happening with the industry is that you guys, to me, and this is just my opinion, you guys lost the formula that's been set in stone for decades.
Well, also, like, the formula is changing. And you talk about AI, that completely takes out a lot of the content creation that goes into it. I mean, me personally, I know some of y'all are using AI more in terms of how you're structuring your projects and your things. How are you using
that shit every day, bro? Yeah, I chat GPT everything. Contracts, agreements,
absolutely,
scripts, like, bro, like full Canva decks, like to the point, whole voiceovers, like literal whole voiceover. I mean, it's fucked up, bro. It's because it's like I can see the change happening that affects everybody. But I used to pay $150 for a voiceover, something quick. I might be doing a quick trailer or something for YouTube. Need a nice little voiceover. I'm gonna go to Fiverr. I might drop like $150. If I need full rights, you're talking about $200, $225.
Right.
Out of pocket as a freelancer. Bro, I'm going to 11 labs getting voiceovers done in 20 seconds.
Yep.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And it's like, it sounds just as good. I'm not going back and forth with people. I'm not waiting 24 or 48 hours. I'm not dealing with clearances, like, but it's fucked up. Like, it's taking somebody's job, literal job. You know what I mean? Like, even down to the legal part, like, I'm creating whole service agreements in ChatGPT. You know what I mean?
That's
like,
crazy.
something that, you know, and it's interesting, like, as in our industry, depending on where you are, legal fees aren't always readily available.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's like, I go to ChatGPT, get a full scripted contract I can shoot out to my client in 2 minutes. And now
that's a double-edged sword
very much
when
so,
it comes
bro.
to it, because the legality portion of it, and then the idea of like you said, you're technically it's taking somebody's job, because you would have paid somebody to do that thing, right? You would have paid a lawyer to draft you up a contract, or at least look at the contract that you were drafting. And so it's, you know, at this point, the most helpful tool in the world right now. But at the same time, it's like, where's the line?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So like I work in on a film right now, and the hurricane just came through Florida.
Right.
And so we had to shut down for a week. And it was like, hey, I need you to draft up a memo to send to the crew about us shutting down and why. Yep. So normally, I've been doing this for over 10 years now. I would have to go, okay, hey, attention cast and crew. We are going to shut down because of blah, 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 blah. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, oh, wait, let me just go to ChatGPT. Hey, ChatGPT, there's a storm coming through. I need a memo telling production that we're shutting down from this date to this date. Copy, paste, insert the name of my show. Here you go, guys. Mm-hmm. And that just saved me an hour of work, when it was something I probably would have came up with anyway. Yeah. But it's just like, at what point do you just say, well, I don't really need to do that anymore?
I mean, even on the trailer side, like whether it's Mid-Journey, Runway, these are apps giving you full scenes. So say you wanted to, you can go create dialogue and add your dialogue into like a Runway AI platform and kick out an entire trailer. Yeah. So you may not want to organize a cast and crew and get these people together, locations. Like, I'm working on a golf film now. I can literally go put 2 people on the golf course talking to each other about this. And I got a full 10, 15 second scene. You know what I mean? Like, plot it out that I can use. Like, the prompts take some work, but to see where it is already is a little scary. You know what I mean?
Where it just leaped in a year.
Yeah.
In this last year, I saw something with, I don't know if you guys, everybody saw the Rock eating spaghetti, right?
Oh yeah, Will Smith.
Will Smith eating spaghetti. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. And it was like, you see the one that was done last year, and it's like, it's weird and it's all over the place, and his face is morphing and all that shit. You see the one that they just posted a couple weeks ago? Shit is crazy clean. Like, it's like, if you just do like this, you're like, oh, this is and then you're like, oh wait, something is still a little uncanny valley in there. But just seeing from last year to this year, and then thinking about what it's gonna be next year, that shit is mind blowing, bro. It's just like, it's gonna be literally, make this movie about this.
And that is the reason why I'm terrified. Because I'm the only person I'm trying to tell you, I am the big sci-fi nerd here. Anybody that has ever watched sci-fi knows nothing good comes of giving computers too much information. And that's what we're doing, bro. Like I saw something the other day, and I don't know, we might have to research it or something, but I saw something the other day where Watson, the original like AI, was, you know, that was the big, you know, that was the whole venture in the AI, right? Now they're giving Watson the ability to basically monitor AI. Yeah. I'm like, wait, did y'all not watch Terminator?
Yep.
That's exactly what Skynet was, bro. They basically said, "Here's Skynet. Here's the keys to the kingdom." And Skynet said, "Oh yeah, y'all blowing up the planet. Let me just save y'all a bunch of time. We're just gonna kill all of y'all and get rid of this whole situation and just start over again." And that's what I'm. That for me is the big fear of the growth of AI is when does the limit of control, right, stop? Where do we go? Okay, you doing too much. You know what I mean? Because when I hear about companies like Google, venturing into AI, and Google is the world's biggest search engine, they literally like I've sat there on social media and I'd be thinking, damn man, I wish I had some popcorn. And I don't even say it out loud. I'm just thinking it in my head. I'm thinking it in my head, and here come an ad for some damn popcorn. I'm like, like, that's what I'm saying. Those are the things about like AI and the advances of technology that sort of scare me. And scared am I of it? Yes. Do I understand the need for it? 100%. Like you said, what you guys are talking about, like, it makes life easier. And again, I'll reiterate, I'm a big, sci-fi nerd. I've seen on Star Trek, like computer, do this, and the computer does what it needs to do. So yeah, I can see that. But I just wonder, is like, are we there yet? Are we smart enough yet to say, to give it enough programming that, that Isaac Asimov rule of, 3 laws or something like that, where we can make sure that, we as a species are protected. But
question for y'all,
robot shit.
It's a question for y'all from a technology standpoint. There's a lot of changes happening, but we're still in the field. We're still a few years out from, major sweeping change, and us still being in the field requires us to still keep up to date with our gear, with our equipment, with whatever it is. Me personally, with so much stuff going on, I don't really want a new camera. I don't necessarily want to go. It's just happening too quick. You know what I'm saying? It's like, so what's your perspective on gear, investing in yourself, and almost the importance of that versus all these new changes with the technology, in a sense? Like, how do you guys feel about that? Like, I know, Mike, the recently new Blackmagic came out. I have a Blackmagic 12K. I can barely edit 6K on a good day. You know what I'm saying? It's like 12K alone. Like, I shot an 8K one day. I had an Amazon spot. I shot an 8K. My computer almost fucking died. You know what I mean? And yeah, I can go get some new RAM and all that great stuff. Kudos, whatever. But bro, like, it's too much K. It's too much K, Mike.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Anything more than 3 Ks is
Right.
K'd out. Bro.
So for me, it's not necessarily about the amount of K.
I need a shirt. I need a shirt now. I need a shirt now.
We can never have too much K. I'm just gonna be clear. You can never have too much K. And the reason why I know, right? Yeah, it feels like there's a pause there. But the reason why I kind of like, I look for, the advancements in, technology and the advancements in, especially in camera technology, and what we do in our field is because whatever the companies can do to make our job, especially as DPs, editors, sound people, whatever they can do to make our lives easier and more productive, I'm kind of here for it. Now, granted, Blackmagic is, they kind of dropped the mic this year with that 17K, and I know, let me stretch for a little bit because Carlos is about to come eat me up. But my thoughts are plain and simple. Like, when you have companies like Panavision, when you have companies like Arri, and they have 65 millimeter cameras, 65 millimeter formats, and you can't buy these cameras. You have to rent these cameras, and if you rent your cameras, you're blowing your budget, especially on, again, the mid-range level, right? So for someone like myself who, the stuff that I want to shoot is, going to have a lot of visual effects and different things like that. So why would I blow my budget on renting out a 65 millimeter when I can buy a 65 millimeter for about the price that I'm going to pay my whole budget? So that's kind of where I look at it. It's like, okay, if they can advance things to make things easier, to make things more cost effective for us as, on a production side of things, yeah, I'm kind of here for it. I get what you're saying. It's like, damn, man, I can't even edit on 12K, you know what I mean? But there are people who can. So I'm looking at it from
those
that
people
perspective.
aren't, and I get what you're saying, and
Yeah.
I'm you know me, I'm a gearhead too. I have regressed from my gearhead lately.
Right.
And the reason why is because there's a film that I just supervised that I'm actually in as well. It's called Regarding Shiloh. It'll be out sometime next year. But we plug. But it is like, I was surprised because we shot it on these cameras that we have.
The cameras that you're literally watching us on right now.
And it's like, it's going to be all visual effects. Everything we shot is on blue screen. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, yeah, we didn't need a 65. We didn't need a 17K for it.
Right.
Because the people that are working on it worked on the Avengers. They worked on, you know what I'm saying? So they know all I need is the data. I really just need an outline of you, because I'm going to recreate you anyway. I'm going to recreate everything that's behind you and everything that's in front of you. So I just need to capture an image. And the sensors that are in these cameras are more than capable of doing all the things that we need to do.
Right.
Now, if we are blessed with, hey man, I want you to shoot this movie and it's going to go to IMAX, okay, yeah, maybe we might want to go rent or purchase the 17K with the 65 millimeter sensor on it. But at what cost, when we can do the same thing on the 6K or the 12K that we already own? And the difference is so negligible in the long run. I believe now, and like I said, I only believe it now because I've seen it with my own eyes.
Right.
If you'd have said this 6 months ago, I'd have been like, give me all the Ks. You know what I'm saying? But now I'm like, oh no, we could just do it. We don't need all that. We just need the data.
But I look at it from the perspective of, because when I first went to school, I went to school for visual effects. That's what I wanted to do. And for me, the higher the resolution, the easier it was for you to incorporate those visual effects and make them a little bit more transparent.
But that's because the resolution when you were going to school was...
Don't you
don't
you dare!
This was not going to be an age.
This was going to go there.
Because when I was doing shit on mini DV, it was 1080p, bro. That was it. I wasn't gonna talk. I wasn't gonna do an age joke. I swear. I swear I wasn't.
Because, bro,
I'm just being real though.
I was literally about to say, I was like, bro, we literally have watched Avengers, Captain America with like 2014 cameras. I was like, so I mean, I get the K and the resolution, but I think the graphic artists, I think the visual effects
you're
guys
right. You're
are
right.
good.
They know what they're
need them
doing.
Ks no more.
We don't need the Ks.
Unless you got, you know what I'm saying? Who was it? Just did a release with an IMAX release that just came out.
Well, I mean, Christopher Nolan
with
Oppenheimer,
Oppenheimer,
Yeah.
right? So I get it, right? He can go to area and be like, hey, I want this.
They had that long ass movie
this
in
camera.
IMAX, bro.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And they
Yes.
made the camera
Impressive.
specifically for him. And who fucking DP'd it?
Hoyt.
Yeah, Hoyt.
Yes, Hoyt.
Yep.
They didn't need that.
And
shit
it's
in
just like,
IMAX.
yeah, we're gonna. I don't know if it was an Arri, but I don't remember which camera it was. But
It was the IMAX. I mean,
It's made specifically for that.
Yeah, it's made
So
specifically.
if they could have cut their budget, which was 100+ million, 200 million, to say, let's just go buy 10 of these 17Ks and just fuck them up if we want to, it could have saved on the budget. But like, they don't when you got 200 million, don't nobody care.
Can I go now?
No,
Go.
Here we go.
I've been trying to hold it back. I've been trying to hold it back.
Unleash,
I'm
Mr.
about
Brad.
Mike, like, people don't understand, like, I don't have an opposing view to Mike's view. I think Mike's view had a place, respectfully, had a place. If you think about all of us getting into the industry, well after Mike got into the industry.
See, that was the joke. I wasn't going to do it.
Well, after Mike got into the industry, and I say that from a level of respect because Mike has literally seen the whole generation of changes from access, especially the camera and technology. So if I'm coming in 2009. This is when digital just started. Literally, digital just started. We haven't even talked about the consumer aspect of digital until like 2010 and 11 with Canon. So operating from a deficit, those cameras from 2009, 2012, those were the entry-level cameras. Those were the first iterations of digital. This was coming off film. This was trying to emulate film. This was creating a new market. Who's this for? How much can we keep fitting into this? How much can it be profitable? How much do we sell it for? Is someone going to take this? Are there going to be filmmakers are there going to be anybody that needs video? Well, before it just became, oh, cool, I can make a video. Well, I guess I can make a movie since I got the resource now, versus film cameras that were highly expensive, that people didn't own,
Right.
Per se, because you couldn't own them or they cost a lot of money. So I say that to say we had the mindset of coming from a deficit in that regard because we didn't have access. Certain people did. The ones that went to film school, they might have access. So that mindset, I say, was good from 2012 to 2017. For me, technology has caught up. Every camera, just like you pointed out, is good enough to do what we need it to do.
Yeah.
It's what are we doing at the level that we're at that makes sense. Now it's not a camera race anymore. The cameras are good.
Yeah.
The only thing that's going to define the camera is your skill set, your art, and then everything business-wise to get it out to where it needs to be seen and sought and everything like that. So now, that mindset, I feel, my personal opinion, we don't need it anymore because now if you watch the industry, it's consumer based.
Right.
It's everything has the next generation a year later now. It's incrementally better, but you have what you need. The consumer thought process is, oh, this is newer, this is the newest feature. It's not the newest best product, it's the newest feature.
And I mean, you bring up a very good point because I mean that's when you think about a company like Arri, they went from an LF 65 millimeter. You thinking Arri's going to go bigger? No, they said no. We're going to give you a Super 35 now.
Because who's the dominating of the market for Super 35? If everything went to streaming, technically Arri's cameras weren't approved for streaming. They had to be converted. So they made their next line of cameras streaming approved into Netflix's and everybody's standards.
Yeah.
So that's why I fight you with now the mentality of, and don't get me wrong, I love Blackmagic. I think Blackmagic is one of the pioneers of disruption for the industry that has enabled a lot of filmmakers now.
Yeah.
So don't get me wrong, but I ask you, who is the 65 for when you're talking about that? Because the mindset, if you're shooting on LF is a request. It's a specific. 65 that Nolan's shooting on is film. It's not just the size of the sensor, it's the size in relationship to film.
Right.
So this is film stuff. This is a texture that he likes and he desires. And then they have the resources to lens a 65. What is the resources for a $30,000 camera
Mm.
when you need to lens it?
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Who is the camera for? And then you brought up a good thought where if I have basically a 65 mil IMAX, is it playing in a 65 mil IMAX theater? Or is it going to the internet?
Is it going to the
Is
Is
it
it
going-
going to, even if it's going to Netflix, it's like, okay, what,
It's on
4K?
the internet.
Yeah.
That's how you're going to get on Netflix.
You're not
You know
going
what
to
I
get
mean?
Top Gun.
Yeah.
If Top Gun, everybody in Top Gun wants you to go to the movies to see it.
But again, in my argument is that I do not think that they necessarily made that 17K 65 millimeter camera for the sake of consumers like you and I, or the individual consumer.
But that's the
I
problem.
think that they
built
made
their
it
business off of
Off
us.
consumers.
So
So
now
that's
where are
what-
you going?
Who's the
wh-
camera
because
for?
you have to elevate it as a business, right? You can't stay like you know your business has to grow, right? You got to at some point you can't say, okay, we're always for the little guy.
So
We want to get the big guy too.
So in our last podcast, the podcast previously,
Mhm.
we discussed relationships, right?
Right.
So in our off-screen discussion, when we're talking about relationship, what was the relationship factor for right now, Black Magic,
Mhm.
with movies, with distributions, other than being a crash camera? So pockets being crash cameras.
Right.
So you're not wrong. That's the next step, right?
Right.
So now you have the specs of a high-end preference specialty camera. That's why I'm asking, who is it for?
And that's-
Are you building the relationship? The relationship don't come with the camera. The relationship comes with everyone who is actually supporting it.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're trying to venture into that field and it's $30,000, so is this camera going to be on the rental market cheaper? So there's the rental market for the 65 Black Magic going to be $700 a day because you valued the camera at $30,000 when Ari and everybody else is valuing their camera at $80,000, and so rental is going to be $2,000 a day. So is that how you're trying to build a relationship?
Right.
So that's why I'm asking, who is the camera for, and how does it make sense in the markets that you know that are dominating that relationship? So DPs who are talking to Ari constantly, or DPs who are talking to Sony constantly. Sony didn't build a bigger camera, they built a better sensor, and then they built a better ergonomics for it.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. So that's why I'm saying, who is the camera for?
Right, FX3 is a beast. You know what I'm saying?
That
Like, I
is.
love my 12K in the field. Give me
Listen.
an FX3, DJI 4, call it a day. And then even the new Pocket, I love the new Pocket, but without the autofocus, it's still a major setup. You know what I mean? As a solo operator, like, you know, we're together. The bigger setup usually typically works, but a lot of my clients right now are a little bit more run and gun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm not showing up with the 12K, you know, prime lens, R2, easy rig, like
Right.
as a solo operator,
Mhm.
like. But
I should probably stop doing that.
hey, bro.
Because I'm showing up. Y'all need me to shoot BTS?
Bruh.
Out here looking like Megatron when I need to
Oh,
be sitting
man.
there with an R2 and an A7
Bruh,
going,
listen,
all right, I got it.
listen.
All right, cool.
Hey.
Click, 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 click. All right, I'm out.
Yeah, but even to wrap up, you know, if you guys had one piece of gear in all your kits, just one piece of gear that you feel like either change your business or you rely on it every single shoot, like individually, like what would that be?
It depends for me, because I went from doing a lot of narrative stuff and just doing a lot of narrative stuff with these guys to really a lot since I met you. I started doing a lot more quote unquote video work, right? So it's a lot of like BTS, podcasts, things like that. So I don't even know anymore. Like right now, I can't survive without my gimbal. So that's probably the one piece of gear that I'm like, I gotta have my gimbal because I like smooth movement.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if I'm walking, you know what I mean? I like handheld shots when it fits the narrative of what I'm shooting, But for the most part, stuff that I'm getting now, it's like they want smooth, they want transitions, they want things walking through, looking up, coming down, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. So I would say it's my gimbal right now.
I gotta agree with that.
Yeah.
Mike, you got a whole truck full of
Whole
shit.
truck.
Toys.
Grip truck.
Bro, I got so much gear between me, Cliff, Carlos, you, James. I got so much gear. I think probably for me, and this is kind of a tough one. It's almost controversial too. Honestly, my light meter. My light meter. I live, breathe, and die by that thing because no matter what the camera says, no matter what my eyes might say, my light meter never lies. And it's always going to tell me the exact truth. So for me, that tool, it changed everything on the way that I shot.
I knew I stepped up in the game when I got a fucking cart.
Boy, you better preach the word of God. You better preach the word of God.
Yo,
What cart you got?
the Magliner, bro.
Man.
Bro.
Big boy shit. I remember living in LA, you know, you show up to set, you don't know, you think, you know, you pack your truck. All right, it should be a simple day. You walking from
Boy.
one area
Boy.
to another. And I remember I had a job, I had a festival gig. And you know, parking, I don't give a fuck about crew. Like, you gonna be parking.
Way down young.
Yo, I remember carrying the tripod, the lights, the camera. Like, this is back in the C300 Mark II days. I had a Mark II. Bro, and I said I was dead. Yo, ever since that day, I got that cart. And, bro, it's something about showing up, packing all your shit, put your coffee in that bitch, and you rolling.
Man.
Quiet as kept, relaxed. Like, do I have a fucking ramp?
Yeah.
Oh, nigga, them DIT dudes rolling off the truck with their ramp fully built.
Yeah.
I'd be like, respect, sir. Respect to you, sir. Like, the fucking cart, bro. We shot at the for the Revolt Summit, the Doritos gig. We always geared up. That walk from the parking lot was real, you know what I mean?
And
like,
that car saved our life. Can I change my answer like that?
I'm telling you.
Can I say Khomari's car?
The piece of gear that I can't live without.
Literally, like,
That's the word of God, bro.
I got my lunch cart that I stole off of some set I was on.
Yeah,
I mean, in that kind of same vein, for me on audio, like it's not even anything audio. It's my tentacles. My little tiny tentacles for the time code, because I did a lot of editing and I spent a lot of time. Who got the slate? Just clap it. No, I need the slate. Man, tentacles changed my life. And I remember I did this project for it was for Oprah. She had what was it, like a Father's Day special or something like that, and they wanted to interview all of their different nominees for Father's Day in their home cities. So we were at this one interviewee's house, and they were like, "Yeah, you know, go ahead and jam up time code." I'm sitting there like, "What are y'all talking about?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, go ahead and jam it up." I don't know, man. They never called me back. So relationships, having the gear to get the relationship.
Nah, it's your cart. I was literally going to say it before you said it. It's your cart.
Is that not the greatest answer for the best
bro,
piece of gear?
I'm back to him because I was like, man, narrative and corporate. I did something, I forgot what company it was, and we parked, bro, and we had to go up the stairs, up 3 flights of stairs. The building was so long. It was like a football field, and we on the other side just trying to figure out. Like, I was like, man, I need a cart. And I don't even have a cart. And I said, I need a cart. So that would be the one piece of gear that I would die to have. It's just a camera cart.
Listen, I'm looking to sell half my shit now. Don't let me get a budget. I'm out. Selling everything off. Fire sale.
Well, we already put X amount of 6 figures in the goddamn Black Magic at this point. So.
Listen, Black Magic, we love y'all. You know
we
love
y'all. Y'all need to sponsor our next podcast, actually.
Y'all low-key need to sponsor our next podcast, because like right now.
Casimir is all
Like,
over
for
that.
real.
Cut me color. Let's do it.
We ain't even got to the ATEM switcher yet.
Bro,
I got
don't
that shit sitting in the
get
crib
me
right now.
started, bro.
But nah, fellas, this is another great episode. Super grateful. Man, AI, get your shit together. Magliner, we love you. Black Magic, you know what time it is.
Yeah.
And Rokinon too, because
Yeah.
we got the zines out on all of these, so
Got the zing.
y'all can pay us too.
But again, if you see us on set, if you see us out, holla, say what's up. If you have any questions for us, all our info is below in the chat. Thank you for watching and stay tuned for episode 3. Until next time.